Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a show for you guys. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off, but whatever. You got to do it, right? You got to do it. So before we get into that, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, Nick Wright is one of the biggest LeBron supporters in the universe, right? But he's not the only one. Of course, you have Shannon Sharp, you have Kendrick Perkins, you have Jay Williams, but then you also have Chris Broussard. Now, the fundamental difference between Chris Broussard and all of these gentlemen that I just mentioned is that of all of these guys, Chris Broussard is still the only one amongst all of them that still considers MJ to be better than LeBron. That's the fundamental difference between Chris and Nick Wright, and that's why sometimes whenever they're arguing about LeBron and Jordan kind of gets injected into the conversation, usually what happens is Chris Broussard is usually the one trying to inject some kind of reality into the argument when Nick is off there going off on a tangent and saying, one thing or the other. Now, yesterday they were on, They were on First Things First. And they were talking about the current state of affairs. With the Los Angeles, with the Los Angeles Lakers. And Nick was basically saying that, LeBron is having this incredible NBA season, blah, 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 blah. And, the numbers he's putting up is just not sufficing. And, what he's giving the Lakers everything. And if he wasn't on the floor, they wouldn't be as good. So while they were talking, they got into an argument, right? Where Chris basically started talking about LeBron in a way that caused Nick Wright to actually get triggered during the debate. So what we want to do is we want to play this exchange for you, and then we're going to come back and really give our 2 cents on it. So take a listen to Nick Wright and Chris Broussard going back and forth here, and then we'll come back and react to it. Take a listen to that there.
Look, I got to say this, and Nick has been right on this. Obviously, this is by far what LeBron is doing the best 20th season we've ever seen.
And it would be, if I may add, the best 18th or 19th
Absolutely.
season.
No one has come close to doing what LeBron's doing at this age or stage of his career. And so anything he does good is gravy. It's icing on a great career that's only been topped by one guy. And I'm not trying to get in the Jordan debate, but only one guy. All right. And so this is not a criticism of LeBron. But what last night showed is that he no longer is obviously the number one guy on a good team, and he's not as good as his numbers are showing. All right, he's averaging 27?
9 and 7.
9 and 7. Yeah, you would look at those numbers and on efficient shooting overall and say, man, LeBron's just as good as ever. No, he's not. All right, this isn't close to what LeBron used to be. He's putting up big numbers. I don't begrudge him at all. But he's putting up big numbers in a league that is easy to score in, relatively speaking. And Jokic, Giannis, and Luka have all said it's easy to score in the NBA. It's easier than it is in Europe. And that is why LeBron is able to put up these similar numbers to what he's always done, even though he's no longer FIBA. FIBA.
Well,
I mean, that's what they said. That's what they said.
Well, all right, so here's my frustration. Yes, of course, LeBron is not what he once was. Rather than have the Jordan LeBron debate, what he once was inarguably one of the 2 greatest players ever with one of the 2 greatest peaks ever. What are you?
Because you're taking Jordan out of it.
No.
Saying Kareem?
No. I'm saying no. Okay. I said I don't want to argue Jordan right now. So just comparing his current to his previous standard, which was a standard only 1 or 2 other guys in the history of the league had reached, is to me, it's being a victim of your own greatness. Mm-hmm. What is so frustrating to me is I don't agree with Brew on this point, though, that this level LeBron is not good enough to be the best player and a champion. I think he is. I think that if this level LeBron had what I would consider truly great late in your career season we've seen from a guy not named LeBron, Duncan, in 2013, when he was first team All-NBA. People forget that. First team All-NBA. Duncan was still the best player on that team that made it to Game 7 of the NBA Finals that LeBron beat him in. The Ray Allen year.
Right.
And LeBron's better than Duncan was at that point, even though Duncan was first team All-NBA. Look up the numbers.
The numbers, of course. But his numbers never rivaled.
No,
LeBron.
Of course.
He was a
but
great
he what
defender
he had
still,
right. He was a great defender, one of the best in the league. But what he had was the perfect cast around him, and LeBron has the worst possible cast around him. So what's frustrating to me is that Kevin O'Connor, our friend, used to always tweet, and sometimes still does, don't take LeBron for granted. Everyone's taking him for granted. Last night, he did something no one had ever done. Broke a Jordan record. I said it before the show that he was going to do it.
So you heard their back and forth, right? Chris was saying one thing, Nick was saying the other thing. Now, here's the issue with all of this. Nick never really gives his viewers the full picture with his favorite player. And that's the issue. He's up there talking about, he's putting up these fantastic numbers, incredible numbers, but he won't mention the fact that these numbers are not leading to wins. Or if he does mention it, he finds a way to kind of circumvent LeBron and then kind of put it on other people. As a matter of fact, because I'd heard this show yesterday, by the way, but this morning when I woke up, I was listening to a segment on from Too Raw for Sport. Yeah, Too Raw for Sports. And he was talking about this particular issue with LeBron and the team's record with and without him, right? And I actually got this data from him, so I want to give him a shout out because that's where I got the information from. But essentially, these are the figures that he put out there. With Anthony Davis in the lineup, the Lakers' winning percentage is .440. That's when he's in the lineup. With AD in the lineup, without AD in the lineup, their winning percentage is 333. Now, with LeBron in the lineup, their winning percentage is .435. With LeBron James out of the lineup, their winning percentage shoots up to 600. 600. That is the fundamental reason you saw that when LeBron went out for, I believe it was 6 or 7 games or so, if I'm not mistaken, the Lakers went on a 5-1 or 6-1. They had like a 6-1 record or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, with LeBron out of the lineup. And people were wondering, well, how is this possible? How are they able to win all of these games? And some said, well, you shouldn't get too excited because they were beating bad teams. There's nothing to twerk it up for. They were beating bad teams. So there's nothing to really get excited about. But then again, when LeBron came back and he started losing to those same bad teams, how could that argument still be the same? They're beating, but they were losing to bad teams. The fact of the matter is this. No one is saying that LeBron is not a great player. He is a great player. The issue is with this particular iteration of players on the Lakers roster is the style of LeBron's play. Russell Westbrook, for all of the criticism that he got last season and maybe in the beginning of this season, Russell Westbrook has found a way to integrate himself into the system. Thereby, whenever he's on the court and he comes off the bench, he's adding value. Does he play a 100% perfect game? No. But no one can point the finger in Russell Westbrook's direction and say, now he is the main culprit for why we're losing. It's no longer Russ because Russ has found a way to fit in to things. That's number one. Number two, LeBron's style of play is what's hurting the Lakers. He's taking way too many threes. Still efficient overall because he gets also a lot of his shots from the basket, going to the rim. But his style of play is what's hurting the Lakers. But Nick, what he'll do is he'll just look at the surface level numbers and say, well, look at his stats. Look at his stats. And Chris is saying, yeah, but those stats aren't leading to wins. And that's where the discrepancy lied between these two gentlemen. So what I want to know from you guys is simply this. What do you think about the exchange between Chris Broussard and Nick Wright? Number one. Number two, do you think LeBron helps the team when he's in a lineup and he's playing the way that he normally plays? Or do you think that, listen, it's bigger than LeBron, it's bigger than AD, it's just a bad team? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section and we catch you guys on the next show.